Let's go. All right. We're going to wait for George to jump in here and get the co-host. And there he is. Approved. Just like that. All right. we got you out of your cave this time here, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
That's
That's how I'm leading off this show.
Oh yeah, it already sounds way better.
Yeah.
That sounds ridiculous. I couldn't figure it out last week because you're like, no, I'm never here. I'm like, it sounds so weird. It makes so much sense. I just never would have thought of it.
Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, shall we?
Let's go. What's up?
The reason that I've been sounding like I've been coming from the bottom of a garbage can on StreamYard only is because when I installed attached to, which I did not know, and the microphone for the camera has been set at my default microphone. So while we're broadcasting, Jake hears me through the mic that you hear me through now, but StreamYard hears me through that's the sounding of like I'm on the bottom of a garbage can. So what I did was, on my own, mind you, at 59 years old, was do a little troubleshooting, and I, checked out some things, got in there and reset some stuff, and then Chuck came over and reset the default microphone, and I'm back.
Chuck's the AltJakeTakesOn tech wizard for sure.
Oh my goodness!
No, it was one of those.
Panicking. It was panicking for me because I'm talking into the mic. I'm seeing Jake and I are on camera.
Nope, you kind of cut out there, bud.
We're same, and I couldn't on so. But
there you go. I think your internet just got a little weird for a second. You're good. No, what was crazy was that it was, during the recording on StreamYard, I couldn't hear it, but then when it would cross over, so I tried to download it like 4 different times thinking it was something on our end or my end. And then I did actually notice it last week on Spaces that you sounded different and it sounded weird, but I just, rolled with it like whatever, but man. I just didn't even would have thought that the camera had a microphone. I mean, it makes sense. Of course the camera does, but
it's a decent mic too. It ain't bad.
No, it sounded good. Like I said, it never sounded bad. It just sounded like you were back here, like you were, over.
Yeah, it was strange.
That's all it was. And what the worst was when we were trying to record, you showing me on the video, like, dude, I'm right here. I'm up against the mic.
Yeah.
But hey, I think that it solidifies us. We are professionally unprofessional. So, or unprofessionally professional, however you want to say it.
Yeah. But you know me, I have the patience of,
you don't.
I don't have patience at all.
Yeah,
Zero.
Just don't.
So if I can't figure it out quick, but I think I took a deep breath and I was like, you know what? I can do this on my own.
Hey man, troubleshooting and problem solving is key. I always say that's my natural. That's naturally what I am. I try to solve my wife knows, if she wants us to complain to vent, she tells me that up front. Like I'm just venting because I'll try to figure out a solution, try to solve the problem. It's just who I am. But that one, I never would have thought of that being the camera. Yeah, no, especially because when I installed, because, a little behind the scenes, we bought the same mic. So in case we had issues, we can kind of figure it out and we knew it would work. And, it was like the highest end of the cheaper versions. We didn't want to spend tons and tons, but mine automatically when I installed it made it my default setting on everything, which sometimes it's funny because only when I'm recording or doing stuff like this do I use the headset. Otherwise I just use my speakers and my laptop. But so when I'm trying to watch the videos, I got to change it back. So I just assumed that's what it did. So
that's how it was. It was the default mic, but then the camera got installed and took over.
When camera went into business for itself, man.
Yeah, the camera, the Geo, whatever the frig this thing is, went into business for itself and said, I'm taking over the default status. So it did. And I never saw it.
The two brands have a natural rivalry. That's great.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Well, so the next time we record the next episode and next, classic match review, we should both use X sound to be. That's the other thing too. I'm listening, mine sounds fine. I'm on the same thing. It's the one difference that we have. I don't have a camera. Well, I have the camera. I just use it to my laptop though. All right.
It was amazing, people. We were taking pictures, showing each other on camera.
We were trying. I
like to make fun of myself. I love to make fun of myself when I can, and this is the perfect time. So.
I'm big on that. Yeah, we got to be able to have some fun. You got to be able to laugh. Hey, but the bottom line is we figured it out. We solved the problem. Well, you solved the problem. I had very little to do with it. It's all on. Yeah. give it up to the 59-year-old man solving tech issues in 2025.
I'll have you do like a 5-minute clip on YouTube real quick for us. And my 5-minute clip was going to go, hey, did you know who the original wrestler was that was supposed to come out of the egg?
No, I just know that it was Hector Guerrero, so I don't know.
Who's the original plan?
No, that I don't know.
Undertaker.
No, that wasn't actually. I mean, that's a rumor. Yes. I don't think it was actually.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I followed it up. I checked with John McAdam.
Yeah. The Stick to Wrestling podcast. John McAdam. Shout him out. Yeah.
That's where I got it from.
Okay. All right. Then I actually
it was originally supposed
to
be Undertaker, but then WWF changed their mind beforehand, figuring the kids would all be scared.
Well, yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's oh God. I knew he was always afraid of that because you see in his interviews or different things he didn't want to be. He always called it like Eggman. He didn't want to be Eggman, which fair enough, nobody does. But yeah, no, I just feel it was Hector
Undertaker
Guerrero
coming out of that friggin' thing with the crowd.
Oh my God!
What? Bless.
Would it have been in the Undertaker gimmick? Like, would he still have been in that?
Yeah, he was the Undertaker. Yeah, it was the Undertaker. Well, I mean, not Mark Calloway.
Show. Yeah, no,
it was the Undertaker.
So
I trust John. I trust John enough. I trust John enough to know that's a true story.
So. Oh, for sure. I absolutely no. Right when you said that, I was like, okay, there's certain sources, unlike Dave or BJ Bethel or whatever. But no, John McAdam is a legitimate source. So would Bruce Pritchard / Brother Love, would he have been in there with him, or would he have
I wasn't in the room.
It? Yeah, no, that's.
There's a lot of questions with it, yes, but.
That's great.
I thought it was funny.
Right? No, this is one of those things that poses way more questions than answers, and it's a giant what if. But, as someone who has said repeatedly and will still say Undertaker, the character, that was my favorite character growing up still to this day. If I'm going to make a Mount Rushmore, he's always going to be on there with that. But I don't think I would have had the same feeling.
Yeah, you give that gimmick to anybody else, that doesn't work.
Oh, no, for sure. That's one of those. Yeah, that's one of those ones that it's, when you talk about it and tell someone to it, it sounds super cheesy. And I can confirm that because when my wife and I were dating and I held it off for a while until I let her know I was a wrestling fan. But, and I talked to her about it because she's into theater. She's into musicals and characters and that kind of stuff. And I tried to explain. Yeah. And I explained the Undertaker and I could just see her face. And I was like, yeah, it worked because it was actually around the time of the Last Ride documentary.
She snapped her bra back on.
Yeah, she's just laughing. Yeah. Hey, we got married afterwards, so we're good. No, and then the bra went back on. So, but this is more of a. So I guess we can get into the show and just
open forum. Request to
there's
speak.
A couple people.
I'm going to keep talking until someone decides to talk. So I'm in a good mood today.
So that's the other thing. We'll do a little testing here. So you can't, because even though I don't think I put you as the co-host. So if I put you as the co-host, will you be able to see that stuff or not? That is a question. I have no idea. You
didn't put me as co-host.
I just invited you to. Well, you came in. Yeah. So because it has the people that have requests for speakers. Like right now we got Sam and D, so I'll put them in. But then if there's another request coming in, I'm just not sure how you can see it. So I've got Sam and D. I've approved both you guys for request to speak. So one of you wants to go and speak. What's going on, gang? How y'all doing?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm a very superstitious sports fan, so I am doing the whole finding other things to do than watch Game 7 of the NBA Finals because I want my team to win and I don't want to have a panic attack during the game. So I'm here.
I always like to say I'm a little stitious. There's certain things that I can be about it, and I'm not as big of a sports fan as I used to be. But in my earlier in my teens and 20s, I remember, as I've told people before, I'm a giant Red Sox fan. So in 2004, I had full systems. I smoked cigarettes back then. I could only smoke cigarettes when the Yankees were batting because anytime I smoked, there was a whole, So I fully respect the superstitions. You got to do what you got to do, especially for I didn't realize it was, I didn't realize it was game seven tonight. If you're into it, man, that's.
Hey, Sam,
yeah.
I haven't watched one Bills game fully in 2 years.
Man,
I do the same thing. I walk outside. I don't watch the game. I come in, look at the score, and walk out.
I don't blame you, and because I do the same thing with Bears games too. So like,
Yeah. No, my buddy, so like one of my best friends on the planet, Matt, he doesn't, and he has season tickets to the Cardinals. He's literally like, he has not watched an extra point or a field goal attempt from either for or against in, I think like 10 years, maybe longer. It's just, he will either just turn around. Like, everybody's got their things, man. And I always think of it like an important kick. He's just, oh God, block the eyes. Can't watch.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a naturally anxious person, which is why I decided to be a sports fan.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like I've been talking to Corey all day. By the way, Corey, if you listen back to this, what up, dude? But we're both Oklahoma City Thunder fans, so we're you know, he's a little more calm than me, as you've seen in our group chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. No, I can't. I feel like he'll probably pop in, but I know he's probably watching the game.
Did you see Kevin Durant got traded?
Yeah, dude. So my dad's from Phoenix, by the way.
I live in Phoenix, and I had no idea.
So the other team that I follow is the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I'm actually happy with what they got back in the trade, though. Because
I mean, in general, like the Suns are just the Suns are just, well, they're the Suns, but I hope, best of luck, buddy. Take a deep breath. We'll be here for you. Hopefully we can distract you at least for a few little bits. So, looks like we got D coming up here next. I'll bring in D, and then I've got, Ray J's World. I'm approving you next. So we'll go D and then Ray J's World. Yeah, we'll just try to knock these out one at a time.
D and Ray J's World. Hey, Jake. Hey, George, y'all.
People got excited about open mic night. They heard
Yep.
Everybody remembers the brand. Hey, in my opinion, that's the greatest promo in AEW history. So.
I remember that one. Open the night, Mike.
Yeah, so what's up, D? What you got? What you want to talk about?
Did you guys enjoy the pipe bomb?
Oh, absolutely. I think that is a main topic. We'll definitely get into that for sure. I was kind of like, figure we could just kind of get into some regular questions. What's up, George?
Considering what we did for our classic match review, it kind of worked out perfectly, right?
Man, I felt it because I had my list, and that was high enough on my list anyway. But literally, it's funny. I thought of it when I was at Raw when Punk's music hit. I'm like, yep, that's the next match George and I are covering for our classic review because it sets up. I mean, that was such a great time 14 years ago when they had that, had that feud that went through that entire summer it was great to go back and watch it. But then for them to have that immediate callback, has everybody seen the video? And I think WWE actually posted it of the side by side where they just literally go back and forth. I mean,
yeah,
he's a good actor, but he got the lines pretty much down. I thought it was great.
I need to go back and watch you guys' video on that one. I know you saw you posted it, so on YouTube.
Yeah, no, we just got it posted. We posted it either the day before, I think it was the day before that match, the new pipe bomb. But we'll get into a little bit more of our deep thoughts about it. But I figured since we got some people wanting to have some questions by Jack Handy, I'm glad somebody caught that. So Ray J, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? I see your hand up.
Hey guys, I thought I'd interest you in something that's going on with TNA. They have a free tier on TNA Plus now, and apparently they let people watch the Friday taping of Impact for free on Friday.
I saw some clips of that on Twitter, like where they had Tommy Dreamer and some other ECW.
I was wondering what was going on with that when I saw a little sneak peek of Cedric. I was so happy to see him on there.
Oh yeah,
Cedric there, and they made announcements on TV partners. Apparently, they're working with Gray Sports Networks. in Atlanta, Georgia, and other places.
Okay.
And there's only one cable-based sports network that they're working with, which is a regional sports network that they're working with, which is FanDuel Southwest, which is in the Texas area. But the rest of them are like Palmetto Sports and Entertainment and stuff like that. And there's 6 of them, and they're all owned by Gray TV, which you're in Arizona, AltJake, and they do the Suns broadcast. Arizona Family Sports does the Suns broadcast locally there. So apparently here's an interesting little spin on that. Gray TV owns Raycom Sports, which also co-produces the college games for CW Network.
Oh,
there's that, and then it just seems to me like if they can't get it on CW, more than likely they'll get it on ION, and I think Carlos Silva is trying to target antenna-based channels based on their partnerships they've made. That they're gonna go to antenna. I think they're gonna go to a network TV.
I mean,
and I get
it's gonna be we've been saying CW for the longest time.
Yeah, we're a smaller show, and we said CW. How many episodes ago did we bring it up in conversation, Jake?
I mean, we brought it up. I mean,
when did I actually say it? Where I actually felt it was going to happen?
I mean, it was one of the spaces. I feel like was one of the one we did. I mean, it would have been. I would think after WrestleMania because we were talking about the exposure that got. I feel like, but I'll go back. I'll write that down right now. I'll go back and try to find that of the exact time because I probably put it in the description.
But the local one for you, AltJake, isn't going to carry it. It's just ones in certain areas, I guess, like Ohio. Yeah. But all like it's one FanDuel channel, one FanDuel Sports Network channel, the one that was going under and going bankrupt before they turned from Bally's to FanDuel. And then the other 6 are Gray-based, antenna-based local sports and regional sports networks that Gray's trying to do. They're trying to put regional sports networks into antenna-based broadcasting. So it seems to me like like it wasn't just the fact that their advertising partner, I forget the name of it. It's the one that did the free event, the broadcaster partner, Zonify. They're owned by.
That's interesting.
They're owned by a small broadcaster in the United States. They're a company, Canadian-based company, but a big broadcaster here in the United States bought them out.
Cool. No, I'll have to go back and watch
it. No,
thank you. No, that's cool. No, I'll have to go back and watch that. I'll have to get the full details of it, but thank you. But I've got somebody else requesting to speak. So
one more thing. I was going to say that also the free tier of TNA Plus is saying something about it too. I get the feeling that's what their target is. Free TV.
No,
are they putting up a free like Friday show showing next week's Thursday show?
Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah. That's. I didn't realize they put up the whole thing. I only saw the clips of it, so I didn't realize that was the whole thing because I was out at a show with my wife.
I don't think it was the full thing. I don't think it was the whole thing, but I didn't watch it, but I saw the clips from it.
That's interesting.
I mean.
that's the thing is they're trying to get their exposure, which I think is awesome. Like they really are putting that into it. But I see I got Never Seen 17. I'm approving you to come in and speak here for the next one up. But thank you very much, Ray J. We'll bring you back around for the next time. And I do want to get our thoughts on the second pipe bomb, but I figured we get some people in. What's going on, Never Seen? How you doing, boss?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We are great. We're making it work. We were going to have a guest here, but I like these open mic sessions. You really never know where they're going to go. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm watching GCW and Matt Cardona shouted out John Cena earlier on in the show.
Matt Cardona, I knew the moment you heard Cena say Cardona's name, you knew instantly that Matt was going to use that moving forward. Like that, there's nobody who markets better than that guy. That's great. What did he do? What did he say?
He looked down the camera and he said, "Hi, John Cena," and waved at him.
Okay. Breaking the fourth wall. I like it. That's great. I haven't watched a lot of GCW, but I feel like they're doing they're doing the indies the best way they can. They're using it to their advantage. That's great.
Yeah.
And from what we've seen, I'm assuming they drew pretty well. Most of the clips that I see, it looks like they draw good enough. They're decent enough houses. Was it a packed house?
It's still going right now.
Yeah, it's happening now.
Oh shit.
Kind of.
Okay. Nice. Well shit. And that's good for them. They were probably hoping that it wasn't going to go to Game 7 for the NBA Finals, if for that being their time tonight. But probably not a lot of the crossover for crowd, but I guess I should bring it into is Georgia. You want to get into that for a bit till we have some more people that want to bring in some questions? Do you want to talk about the pipe bump, or do we want to? Is there anybody else that wants to have questions come in? I see a few different speakers.
They can bring it up themselves and see what they think. You can kind of bounce off of them if you want.
I'm cool with it.
I have an opinion about the pipe bomb because I'm a massive Cena fan, as you can see by my profile picture.
And your name, we got, which I like. That's the thing. I like people that are passionate, wherever the passion's going to be, as long as it's, I guess channeled in the right. So you seem like you got the right energy. I like it. So yeah, what did you think of it?
I thought it was one of Cena's best promos of his heel run and maybe of the last 5 years, in my opinion, of Cena's. Because we know Cena hasn't been around a lot lately, the last 5, maybe 6 years, 10 years. Yeah, and I like how he took some stuff that Punk did and turned it around in his own way. For example, instead of saying, "Hey, Colt Cabana," he said, "Hey, Nemeth, Cardona, and Audio."
So what I think, here's my main thought of that is, my main thought of the promo is just have patience, people. Everybody was immediately wanting to hate on this Cena heel run, or just from the moment it started, and they all wanted it to be, they wanted to feel like WrestleMania or whatever. Give it a little time, let it build up. He's literally been telling you what he's going to do. He's been building the pieces, and then I felt like Friday was that point where he's like, "This is why we've been doing this. This is the point." And leading into a match with Punk, which is why George and I covered it on our classic match review, because that's one of those feuds that if you were around at the time watching, you remember it, you love it. Even if you weren't, that's one of the ones that people go back to and watch, whether it's through, the old, the greatest moment shows, the rival shows, or just going back through YouTube. Or I've seen a lot when I was going back to watch some of the matches that George and I are going to review for the classic match reviews. They have the Punk and Cena feud just right there as like a folder or whatever. You open it up and they've got all the pay-per-views that have their matches right there in front of you. So you can just go and relive them all. And there's a reason why, because they're amazing.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It made it really easy.
Yeah. I have not been a fan of Cena's heel run up until that point. I'm waiting. I still can't be convinced he's a bad guy. I still can't get it through my head. I can't do it. I was waiting for something to make me change, and that was it Friday. So it was nicely done. He came off like a prick.
He did. He came off and I feel like that's where but if he'd have just done that right from the beginning, it wouldn't.
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a little progression, but he just freaking.
That made me so excited for this match. That made me so excited for the match, Jake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I felt like it's one of those things where they've really positioned not only the match itself well, but the whole story around it and using the real world stuff. Like they haven't specifically said it about what Punk has said about Saudi and stuff, but they like, if you know, you know, and they know most of us know, that was one of those things like when I was at Raw and Cena said it, you could tell that there were certain parts of the crowd that didn't quite get it, but most of us did. It was one of those, oh, kind of moments. Cause
Yes.
And they're using it. And why not? That's back to the whole R-Truth situation, whether it was a work or not, the only reason I think it was at least enough was because they knew his contract was going to expire. They used that to their advantage, and you use the real world situations to make your stories better. The best stories have as much truth in them as possible.
Yes,
the old kind of they used to stuff about the territory days. Tell them the truth as long as you can, so then they won't realize when you start lying to them. And
yes. I love it when you don't expect something from SmackDown, because people don't expect much from SmackDown at all. But to have something just to have it.
I think the thing with SmackDown is that
Yeah.
people, and it's a trek at 3 hours. It really is. I'm lucky on the West Coast where literally I DVR and it starts at 5 my time. I start watching about 5:30, 5:45, and I catch up. I usually watch the last half hour live. So, but because those commercial breaks, it's tough. But the thing is, it is a good show with a lot of good stuff on it. They've got great characters. Chelsea, the more Chelsea Green we can get on the screen, the better, having her in backstage segments, in matches. I think that's where we'll kind of lose some of that extra stuff when they go back to 2 hours, but they'll just put it all up on Twitter. So it'll still work.
What happened there? They said they were going to be, okay, now they're 3 hours. They said they were going to be 2. And then USA said, no, we want 3. And now they're going back to 2 again?
I think I'm not really sure because there hasn't ever been a clear report on that I have really heard. But what it seems like to me was they had a plan of when they were going to go back to 3 hours or go back to 2 hours. I think it was a little bit after Mania, right? But the ratings were still pretty good. I don't pay too much attention to the ratings, but I've never heard like, oh God, they got, 800,000 for Smack or whatever. The ratings have still been good and decent. And what else are they going to put on in that spot on a Friday night at 10, 11 o'clock? There's not that much. But I think now they've got a show that they want to promote. So they're going to use that to leading it in. But is that permanent? All I've heard is that people say, well, we see on the schedule that there's going to be SmackDown 2 hours and then that last hour is going to be whatever this new show they're promoting.
Oh, yeah.
What happens after that show? Like, that show's going to have how many let's just say that show's got 10 episodes. So after 10 weeks, do they do another show or is it just SmackDown goes back to 3 hours? I don't think WWE really cares.
Yeah, you can't do that though. You got to keep it consistent.
I agree.
Yeah, you got to keep it
consistent.
consistent.
They really wish they could go to 2.5 hours because I think what Raw has proven to us is
that's the sweet spot.
It really is.
Yeah.
I feel like when Triple H said that in that interview a couple years ago, it was kind of like, okay, sure. Like that's a little bit weird, but he was absolutely right. Like it was dead on. Like it's absolutely back. So yeah, no, he's right about it. He's absolutely right. It's, the 2.5 hours is damn perfect.
Yeah. So. I hope when the contract expires for Peacock and all that stuff, that everything can go to Netflix.
And I think that's what I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like that would be the easiest for us. I just feel like if they could, I feel like they're doing the deal the way they have it right, where they've got one show on streaming, one show on cable, one show on network TV. But as cable becomes less and less important, it's one of those things that that would be the one they would remove off of, I feel like. Like NXT being on CW and being on network TV really works for what that show is. Cause it's got a big reach, but really how many people are watching network TV, but they can, but I just don't see the reason. I feel like the cable deal is tied to, and you nailed it too. It's tied to Peacock because Peacock or NBC Universal owns Peacock and USA. So I feel like if they end up staying on Peacock, they'll stay on Peacock in the US for the PLEs. They'll stay on USA. But if the PLEs all move to Netflix, SmackDown will be the first. It'll eventually come over, I would think. It just makes the most sense business wise, and ease of use, because I feel like it's weird when you hear them promote, and we'll be on Netflix internationally and on USA and the States, and it'd just be easier if just everything's on Netflix. It's just smoother.
Yeah, there's gonna be some people with pocketbooks thinking otherwise.
This is true. This is true. I just feel, I feel like with that deal too that they've got in with Netflix where they can add more to it, I just feel like they would want to add more to it. But we'll see. What's up, Sam? I hear you back, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Corey,
your boy Halliburton got hurt. We know. Sorry.
I
didn't know. I guess it's on my TV.
I'm an empath, dude. I feel awful about that. Actually, that sucks. That sucks. I wouldn't want that to happen to Shay, so I'm not gonna be an asshole. But I just had a thought on the change of the length of SmackDown. I'm in favor of it. I've wanted that to happen with Raw for a while now because, I like getting the most out of the time that I sit down and watch. And one of the things that's always kind of annoyed me about the 3-hour format is usually in the second hour I tune out and I turn on a game or something. Whether it's football or basketball or, God forbid, baseball. It's nice to just sit there for, the normal duration of an episode and not get a bunch of filler, which I feel like...
and I think there's the difference, though, too, is I feel like now it's much less. There definitely still is some filler, but I feel like it's more of just the dredge of the 3 hours watching it live, because after that, it's not even the second hour. It's that third hour that just drags. But they're doing their best with it, but I just don't think it's a viable format for TV. Like, it didn't work for Nitro. Like, it worked for Raw in a sense at a time, but not really. Like, there was no competition, so there really wasn't anything, but their ratings consistently dropped with it. It's just 3 hours is a lot of time to commit to something every single week. And it's crazy that it's only a half hour difference. I guess some episodes are like 2 hours and 15 or 2 hours and 20 minutes, but still that half hour of difference to Raw to SmackDown, I personally, like I said, it doesn't bother me as much, but you see it with people's, reviews or responses to shows, because SmackDown really has been consistently a pretty good show since WrestleMania, but you look on the internet or Twitter, people just hate it.
Exactly. Especially if it can go onto Netflix, they can do the same thing with Raw
they
to Netflix.
would.
Put it at 2.5 hours. Just put it at a good
the
spot.
2.5 hours, it's just more of like, it's if what the show needs or what's best for the show. Because there definitely have been some that have been episodes that have been a little bit short, and there's some that run a little bit long or something that happens afterwards. But it is the sweet spot's the best way to put it. It's the perfect area for it. It works.
Yeah, we're talking about the duration of Goodfellas versus the duration of The Irishman.
Yeah,
and I sat through The Irishman.
Yeah.
And oh my God. but
it's like Braveheart. It's a commitment. You've got to sit down and put in the time to it. But
and
they're getting better with it now. So my question, here's the thing though, is for everybody bitching about Raw going to or SmackDown being at 3 hours, a lot of the people that are bitching about that are the same people that cry when releases happen, and it's like you realize those are going to be tied together, right? Like,
I'm bitching about the 3 hours.
That's fine, but you're also not bitching about the releases, so that's fine.
Not at all. No.
But there's a large section of the fans. It's like the Venn diagram. There's just that certain spot of people that just want to bitch and are going to bitch about anything, and they want they want Raw. They want the shows to be 2 hours, but they want everybody on the shows, and they also want everybody to get a title reign. It's like there's pulls on some level.
Well, maybe they can switch in and out of the storylines too.
Well, that was actually the next point that I was going to make, tying it in there. Just like, if you're putting your money storylines on a 3-hour episode and you're really committing to that, I'm totally in favor of that. Same thing for 2 hours. It's really a matter of writing and pacing. If the pacing is weird and rushed in a 2-hour show, then I'll be like, okay, I might want to add an extra 30 minutes maybe, not an extra hour.
Yeah.
But like, if everything's cooking, like if we're firing on all cylinders all the way through for a 2-hour show, perfect. Like, give me more of that, man. And again, I'm not someone who, I try to be as positive as I can about things because I am, I tend to get very existential dready when things get too negative, but you saw a little bit of that in the group chat too, there, Jake.
The thing about it, though, is, I mean, I feel like that's what they've been trying to, and I mean, really, I feel like more of the storylines than not now do have merit and and that's where it's kind of hard to, you see it sometimes when they bring people back, it's hard to put them into a storyline specifically. And that's also why people stay in NXT a little bit longer than it seems that it's necessary for some, because there isn't a good storyline to put people in, and you don't want people to get lost in the shuffle. And that is what I think they've done very well with it, in my opinion, of the shows, where they've really kind of driven and gone through them. But it still can be, it's just the timing of it. It's a drag for people. And I feel like it's also one of those things that it's hard to want to sit down for 3 hours and just like, it's, it's not like it's a sporting event. It's not like it's like a game that you really are getting. Yeah.
I have a strange feeling that this brand exclusivity thing is going to be gone by the wayside pretty soon.
The only way I
feel like Raw talent's going to cross over to SmackDown,
and they have been
crossing because there's no even indication of a draft coming.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what, there's certain things that you can tell were Vince ideas that Triple H is trying to get away from, and he's going to get away from the ones that he can, because he's kind of like, we all know he doesn't really like Money in the Bank, but he's kind of stuck with that one, but he's been able to get rid of the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. He's, the last couple drafts have been kind of, weak, and I think he's, unless you're going to have it being with a feud of Aldis and Pierce, there's really not much in that brand supremacy kind of world. There's really not much need for that.
I loved it when they used the Hell in a Cell for Punk and Drew for the Bad Blood.
Exactly. You need to just have it as a match. The storyline needs to warrant the match, as opposed to having a pay-per-view on the card that we're like, well, we got to have a Hell in the Cell match. And even the last pay-per-view that was the Cody and Seth one. And that was either that was only one or they only had two now where every match is a Hell in the Cell. That really, that just really killed the Hell in the Cell gimmick. And I feel like that's why, it's only really happened twice really under the Triple H regime. And it's because he's making it matter, which is good. Especially if you're going to have War Games every year. I wonder have War Games every year and Hell in the Cell.
Yeah, I wonder if Bad Blood pay-per-view is coming back this year. I wonder if it's coming back in October before.
You gotta have a feud. There's no feuds. Right?
If they do, that's fine. But they don't need to have it. The Hell in the Cell doesn't need to be tied to Bad Blood. The Hell in the Cell should be tied to a feud. And really, right now there isn't any feud. I mean, I guess eventually you can get to Punk and Seth into that, but I don't know if they really need to be. I feel like Punk.
I don't want to see one this year. I don't want to.
I don't think they need to. No, I would say like next year. Yeah. No, there's no need to have one this year, especially with how fantastic the last two have been. There's no need, and like let those live on the lore. Let those kind of build up that aura around them, and so that when you do have one next year or the year after or whenever it matters and it's warranted to, I'm completely with you on that one. And I feel like that's where Triple H has done very well with getting rid of, and same with, but he's kind of stuck with the Elimination Chamber being where it is, and then Money in the Bank being where they are. Like, you can't get rid of those, but if you can at least kind of move off some of the other stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What's up, George? Sorry. Sorry. I was going to say, I think they're ending the brand split and the drafts and everything because they're trying to allow the crossovers to happen with TNA and AAA and stuff. I mean, you literally have Lars Garza as the AAA tag team champions right now.
Yep.
So yeah.
And
how are you? Yeah.
If you do that right, I'm all for it, because then you're just putting the right storylines that work into, and you also can like let things breathe a bit. Like you don't have to have people, feuding on every single show. I think that was the original reason for the brand split, was basically because the same feuds are happening on Raw and SmackDown every week, and there was no chance for people, and so they gave that chance for people to kind of get themselves over by getting more exposure and TV time. But I feel like now they let things breathe and they don't overrush things. And, there's times where that someone's going to be over in a specific town, so have them perform there. It does make a lot of sense. And most of the shows that I've been to in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been to 2 shows this year and 2 shows last year. And yeah, there was a lot of crossover already. Like, people. Yeah. Cause it's, you want to be able to sell the tickets and put on the best show possible. And they have a PLE every month essentially, and the Saturday night's main event. And those already have a lot of crossover. So you already have a lot of, it's not like it's rare, so you might as well just kind of and then what you can do is just have it kind of be, Pierce and Aldis having a feud for who puts on the best show. Cause I still think those two are going to have a WrestleMania match. If it would have happened,
it would have happened this year and next year, and that's going to be about it.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, Pierce isn't that old. I mean, they're real.
I'm just saying.
I agree. I feel like Triple H wants that to happen, and
I think you got this year coming up, and that's going to be about it for that. But we'll see.
Yeah. No, and I was convinced it was going to happen at WrestleMania if it was going to be in New Orleans, because New Orleans was, old NWA territory, and they were both NWA champions, and that'd be kind of cool. Hey, maybe something will happen with NWA. Maybe they can do some kind of partnership or deal with them and something with it. But yeah.
So AAA was mentioned, so I wanted to kind of segue into something else real quick.
Awesome. Yeah, guide us, buddy. We're just rolling. I love it.
I'm going to give some kudos to Dynamite on Wednesday. The CMLL show did well. Good rating.
Yeah.
They had a really good crowd, but they screwed it up by saying something stupid, which we'll get to in a second. People in the room here, if you have 10,000 people come to your venue and it's not sold out, would you tell the viewers at home that you had a sold out crowd? Or would you tell the viewers at home that you had 10,000 people at your show? When normally at your shows you have between 2,500 and 3,000, and that's pushing it.
And for me too,
that was a major mistake for me right off the bat.
And there's one other part to that even but it's not even saying, say we have, there's over 10,000 people in the arena tonight. If you just say that repeatedly, over 10,000, it sounds so much. And yes, they sold what they had allotted for, but they had certain sections blocked off or not, or like the GA where they didn't.
They just had the whole upper deck open. The place is huge.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. When they're normally, when they have a crowd of over 4,000 and we say that's normally a good crowd, like normally oh, that's a good crowd for them. Yeah. If you're over 10, just keep saying that. Like just repeat it to the people.
If they would have had Excalibur come out and say, welcome to Arena Mexico. We have over 10,000 people here. Poof.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it just I don't know.
Yeah, no, but that's
the one thing.
That's continued. That's AEW in a nutshell. No matter what they're going to do, whether it's right, that's the problem is when they do something right, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Problem is when they do something wrong, they're also going to continue to shoot themselves in the foot. So it builds up and gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
Well, the other comparison was when AAA was done, WWE put over the AAA talent.
Yes.
In a great way. So we know people, we know who they are.
Yeah. Iguana did a great job.
The CMLL talent, however, did not come out so well.
Yeah.
I do not like to see a Mexican talent like what's Sin Cara's name?
Mystico.
Why take his mask off?
Yeah.
In Mexico. When that part I don't like it. You're not putting over your hometown talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hometown crowd.
He wants to be Eric
their
Bischoff
hero
so
get
bad that
demasked
he just
is
took off somebody's mask. Because Eric Bischoff kept doing that for on the Nitro days, and it was because he didn't understand them. Yeah, no, you're right. That's my thing about yes, they did have a great show on Wednesday, and good for them. I'm happy for them. I hope they do it. My problem is what's going to be the follow up this week. We know there's not going to be any. That's the issue. But hey, I see Corey made it into the room. Sam was talking about you earlier. What's up, Corey? I see your hand up. How you doing, bud?
Hey, man, I'm just watching the NBA Finals.
That's what I said. Because Sam was like, I don't know if Corey will be here. I'm like, yeah, I know he's watching the game, so I don't know if he's going to pop in. I thought maybe halftime we might be able to get you sneak in. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. Question for you guys.
What's
and
up?
This kind of bugged me, but did it seem like AEW and their fans did not give CML any credit for that?
Oh, of course not. That's
what I just, I was just saying that they like the difference between the two is night and day.
Yeah.
But couldn't they just said, hey, thanks for the great partnership, and collaboration or something? But I feel like Arena Mexico, that's the reason I watched the show, because I wanted to see the atmosphere in Arena Mexico. And
yeah. No, absolutely. It was the only reason that I knew I was going to watch it. Like, and no matter what happened, I was going to put the show on in full. Cause usually when I put on AEW, there'll be something where I'm just like, okay, pass, we're done. Or you see what the main event is and you're like, don't care. But that one, yeah, you wanted to see the atmosphere. You wanted to see how they presented it. But I feel like, yeah, all the sickos, AEW, even just the people that are kind of on AEW's side, they're just celebrating they're celebrating the house, and they're celebrating the rating number, but they're acting like it was 100% them. That was one of the things I was getting into with people a couple days ago about it, because they were acting like it was, because I was saying that's great, but what are they going to do when they're back in this country, when they're in the States? And they were acting like it was like that was 100% CML, and we'll see it this week. It'll be a smaller house. They won't follow up on any of the stuff. I mean, they'll probably follow up on some of it, but
I think you'll appreciate this, Jake. What it reminds me of is when you have a series like BoJack Horseman, but they have a one-off Christmas episode.
Yes, yeah, or like every show that's like the musical episode or something.
Yeah. It's like one of these one-offs, but you can't really follow it up with a part two. That's my opinion.
Yeah, or like when the Simpsons had the crossover with the Critic, or like whatever, when those TV shows
Family
crossover.
Guy.
Yeah, it worked. No, even before that, they did one with the Critic way back in the day, where Critic
John
used
McBain.
Man. Yeah. Now I'm old, but that's
I'm older. Like, I'm probably older than you, but yeah, I just feel like it was.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. There's no follow-up. It's a one-off is the best way to put it. I'm really glad you said it that way. I hadn't thought of that phrasing yet. And we'll see it moving forward. That was a one-off. That was an anomaly. They're not going to do that again.
Well, and NXT had it last year. Remember when they had 2300 Arena and they had all the old ECW stars show up and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It's sort of reminiscent of that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Did you guys see on TK's boat and that interview where he's talking about he really was trying to put that Mexico show over, but the rating and the stuff that he's talking about didn't.
That was
the interview.
I haven't seen the whole thing because I can't watch that much of him, but I saw that one clip that was
awesome.
57 or 58 seconds, and it's literally it's a 1 minute ramble of lie after lie after lie after lie.
No, that's not the one. That's not the one she's talking about. She's talking about one where he's actually on the boat. You know the interview that he did on shore.
Yeah, that was the interview. Yeah, on the boat where he's just like doing
on the boat camera. Is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nobody to filter him. He can't just.
He was making a mockery out of himself in that interview.
We need to use the right wording. It's a yacht. It is a super yacht. He's got daddy's yacht.
I just can't believe all the stuff that he was lying about. I'm like, the rating, I'm like, really?
Well, that's what happens when you have nothing but yes men surround you, and you have nothing but people that tell you what you want to hear.
If you really think that he's not lying in his mind.
That's exactly right. That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, he legitimately believes this.
That's fine.
Yeah, hey, trivia question for you guys.
What's up?
What is the name of Vince McMahon's boat? Since we're on boats.
I don't. Is it something about Phil Mushnick?
It's like the sexy bitch or something like that.
Oh God!
Yeah, it's probably aged badly, but
not even funny.
I didn't know the answer to the question.
So I want to know someone's thoughts on the return of Bryan Danielson, because I'd understand, some guy who, got hurt on, Collision or something, making a return on ROH just, while he gets back.
Well, that was Bandito, right? That they did video package after video package promoting his return, and they had him return on ROH and get himself a concussion. Yeah.
Well, I don't get that. Why?
And
they
it's
want
when
him
he does things
they
like
want him
that.
to come to All In. That's all. That makes sense, right? Brian, bring him in for one show, and that's it.
But
that's what they're going to do.
Oh no, for sure. Just why have him be a part of ROH at all with it? And that's when Tony does stuff like that. It seems like he wants to care and give a shit about ROH, but he doesn't want to give them a TV deal on anything but WBD. So he just hurts. Oh, I looked it up. Sexy Bitch is the name of Vince McMahon's 47
foot yacht. Kidding me.
I knew it. I heard the name.
But his is only a 47-foot yacht. I feel like, isn't Tony's dad's like 600
Tony's a 63.
Okay. I knew I saw the one where it's got like a pool on it and like a pickleball court. Like, Jesus.
Got the landing helicopter, got the helicopter pad on top.
That's what somebody that rich and somebody who grew up just with that much money.
That's awesome.
But they're not going to be able to relate.
It doesn't matter. He don't give a flying fuck.
He's one of us. Man, I had to play with sticks and squirrels when I was a kid. What are you talking about?
Just like me.
He's just like us, except for that, and that's why he doesn't think it's a problem to charge people $50 for a lackluster pay-per-view every 4 weeks. But it's 5 hours of wrestling. That's nice.
He took what he grew up with, thought about it, made it happen, achieved his dream. Great.
But the thing is, people, they act like that's all he's doing and it's just that, but it's not, because he sits there and he tries to compete and shoot down he wants that to be what everybody else enjoys and loves.
He's living his fantasy dream. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. But he's but he's trying to make that what's the number one thing and be better than everybody and pushing that down people's throats. If he was just doing this for the fun of it and enjoying his own shit, it'd actually probably be a better show and more enjoyable for all of us, as opposed to always trying to take down WWE and the fans. And, if you don't like this, you don't like any wrestling.
Well, he's curtailed it a lot. I give him credit there.
Somebody has either taken control of his phone or he has somebody with him. I've heard he's got a girlfriend. Maybe the girlfriend is like, dude.
No, he's had a girlfriend for quite some time.
I'll propose a question to you, Jake. If I could.
What's up?
So
you never proposed a question to me.
Okay. I'll propose one to you guys. So AEW, there's supposed to be all in-ring action and stuff. Why is the most over gimmicks like Tony is sort of the Hurt Business when it's actually sports entertainment at that point then?
Because sports entertainment is what it's over. It's always been, if your best thing is your in-ring wrestling, you are never going to be that great. Like, you've got to be able to make a connection with the audience. Bryan Danielson is a perfect example. When he talks about that time he spent in England where he had to do like the pantomime wrestling and stuff, where he had to learn how to put on a show and come out of it. That was what made him more of a complete wrestler. Like, yeah, he's great in the ring. He's a fantastic technician. That gets boring after time. There's nothing to sink your teeth into there. There's nothing to buy from what they're selling. And
think about
sports entertainment is what sells. Yeah. It's all about making the connection with the audience. That will always matter more than your in-ring acumen. It's just the truth.
Yeah, think about the acts that have gotten over in AEW that weren't expected. Like Wardlow got over without Tony's help. What's the tag team with Billy Gunn?
The Acclaim.
Runners.
They got over from rapping.
This is the perfect example of what I'm going for. The Acclaim got over without any push whatsoever.
Yep.
And that's total sports entertainment. And Tony didn't know what to do with it. It was handed to him. That was right there.
Yep.
We would have never had Blake Monroe if it wasn't for the sports entertainment thing.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
that's because she's a great example because she is fantastic in the ring, but it's her total package that makes her an absolute
Total
star.
package.
Hey-oh. it's all, that's why they were, if she didn't have all of that going for her, if she wasn't able to, make a connection with the audience, they wouldn't have brought her in how they did, where they literally had all of the women in the division are in and around the ring, and they had her above them in a spotlight. Like, they did that for a reason, to show how and that's because she's a sports entertainer. She's great at wrestling, and that will always help. Being fantastic in the ring never hurts, and it will always help. But if it's the only thing you've got, it's just never gonna.
Yeah, if you just tweaked Osprey a little bit, you'd have that.
Yes.
What do you?
That's why Osprey would be great with some coaching, and that's the other problem with AEW, is that nobody wants to coach anybody. Nobody wants to take any coaching. They are proud of the fact that they don't have a performance center, and there's no group of humans that needs it more than them. Like, just a little bit of coaching and a little bit of direction would do that man great. I want to like Osprey. I can see he is very physically talented. I can see that, yes, he can do the moves well. But it's not about doing the moves. The greats, everybody who we consider to be like the best wrestlers, like Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, they were all great at doing the moves as well, but they were the best at selling. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, like, those three could sell anything. They can make anything look good. They can make anything work. That's
just
what
think of that on Osprey, dude. Holy shit. If Osprey could sell some of these moves for like 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, how much different he'd be?
The thing is that he can, it's just he doesn't, and that's why he drives me insane.
That's something they learned in that's Japan wrestling, dude.
Yeah. And
you have the likes of Dean Malenko and Dustin Rhodes in that locker room. You have the likes of Madison Rayne in that locker room.
It doesn't matter if no one gives a fuck.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They had William fucking Regal in that locker room, and because nobody wanted to, he couldn't wait to get the hell out of there, because nobody wanted to take his coaching and nobody listened and nobody wanted to do it right. Like, he would go in his podcast, and like, you could tell that podcast was him like this is what I'm telling you to do. Like, please make your pins look like they matter. Cinch in a hole, like, make it look like it matters, and they just never did. My
eyes are all over Kyle Fletcher, man. I think he's going to be a big star.
Absolutely.
Kyle Fletcher's got it, man.
But they had a chance to put that belt on him, and they did not.
He's going to be. George is talking about in the future. Like, he's not going to make it as a big star in that company, because they just can't do it. They've not made any big stars.
He changed his body form, so he looks like a star. He looks like a
and he's good on the mic. Like, he's got all the tools you could possibly want. The problem is he's just surrounded by a bunch of fucking tools.
We gotta think about Private Party. But their contracts are up.
I've heard that.
Do AEW fans not realize they're like, only the wrestling matters, and then they start cheering a bunch of sports entertainment stuff? Like,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah,
that they are completely oblivious to it, and that's the thing about Private Party is
easy on the rope. Yeah, mute yourself, please.
Sam, mute yourself, boss. I think that's you, or Sam or D. You're the only two that aren't muted. Thanks, guys. No, the thing about it with Private Party is they're the exact same that they've been from the first time I saw them when they were in AEW in 2020 or 2019.
Yeah, haven't changed a bit.
So if their contracts are up, please leave. Go to NXT and get some fucking coaching, and maybe you can actually grow. I would love to see it, because they haven't done it there. But it's hard to turn down those paychecks, because Tony's going to offer you a much bigger guaranteed contract initially. And what WWE is going to offer you is a decent contract with a chance to grow and make money and become a star. It's like,
exactly. Mariah May, she probably got a chance to do that. She decided to go. Yeah.
I hate to quote Vince, but it's one of his better quotes. I'm going to give you an opportunity. That's what he would do. He would give you an opportunity versus just, I'm going to give you a bunch of money and not book you right.
Well, and in Blake's case, Mariah's case, whatever you want to call her, like, she understands marketing better than even some people, than most people even on NXT do. Like, she's just really good at putting herself, God damn it.
She's a very intelligent. Yeah, she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, to wrap up the private party comment. Okay, turn down your thing, please. I can hear the.
Yeah, if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. If you want to speak, just unmute.
Sorry.
It's all right, boss.
The private party thing is interesting to me because, like you said, Jake, they haven't really changed in 5 years at all.
Yeah.
But the one, I can't remember who it is. The one brother is really so much better than the other one.
I couldn't tell you which one is. Like, I know, I think it's. Yeah, that's the thing. And you couldn't tell you much about it.
They're noticeably different talent-wise.
Yeah, but they just never got enough time for, and they're the exact same characters they've always been.
To be fair, the guy shattered his friggin' ankle, but
doing silly ass. It's just like the other two brothers, the Martin brothers. Like every time one of them's back, the other one's hurt because they're always doing stupid and crazy shit.
Yeah,
I like there's potential for him though.
I feel like they did them wrong and dirty. I was like, as soon as they put him on the Hurt Syndicate, you didn't see them on the TV at all.
I mean, you never saw them. I mean, how often were they on TV anyway? And even if they were, what were they doing? What were they evolving to?
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, that was the same thing with Orange Cassidy, where he was like, the reason people hated on him, it wasn't because of what the gimmick was. It was because the gimmick never changed. The gimmick never evolved. It was just always the same stuff. And that's Tony's biggest problem is there's no growth. There's no evolution. He thinks what he's doing is perfect and great. And he's got his friends to tell him that. So he just keeps doing it. And that's why I want the company to succeed, but they never will. The way it's set up. It can't happen.
I'd definitely be his friend if he paid me.
That's the other thing too. I can't blame anybody with it because he's probably offering you tons of money. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's how many fucking zeros?
Exactly.
Like he just, like.
Do you think that
everybody's got a price? Ted DiBiase told us this 30, 40 years ago, and he was right.
Yeah. Well, do you think that they put the belts on him because people were trying to call Triple H a racist man and they didn't want, as soon as they put the titles on the private party, everybody was sitting there celebrating that they got the titles. Do you think that what he wanted to show that I'm not a racist person or because they were trying to talk about him?
Street Profits. You mean the Street Profits?
Yeah.
Sorry, you called it private party. You threw me on. No,
I said private party. Yeah, on the private party, yeah.
I don't think Triple H gives a flying fuck what people say about him. I think he cares what fans like and dislike, but what people say about him, why would that matter? Yeah. There's no reason for him to. I think he just laughs it off because there's nothing. All he's done is given people the best chance to put their best foot forward and succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to work for everybody. That's life. That's right. Not everybody is going to be able to win every match and be over and be a giant star. But I think he put the titles on the Street Profits because it was great for the story. They had turned heel and really done well.
Mm-hmm.
And that tag division, the tag division on Raw is a hot mess, but the men's tag division on SmackDown is pretty damn good.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm starting to agree with the fact that I think Phil said it. I think it's time for WWE to stop with the counter programming and stop fucking with AEW and just concentrate on their own shit. They made their point. Just concentrate on your own stuff. I agree with that.
So I do too, but I honestly don't think that I think that part of what they're doing is like, if they're able to do it, okay. But I don't think they really, I think that, NBC wanted either the 12th or the NBC wanted one of those two Saturdays, probably the 12th or the 19th. So if you're going to pick one, I don't think it's that important to them to be doing it.
No, but like I said before, Tony's asked for it. They've given it to him. They've proved their point. Move on. I get it. We know.
And Mercedes winning.
But what have they done that has, they're going to be doing the shows anyway. You know what I mean? Like the shows fall on when they fall. I haven't seen it's one, if they go out of their way and like book shows that like, strain them or like, do two shows on one day that strains their audience. All right. Or strains
there was no reason to throw NXT on in the middle of the afternoon.
They've done it
against All In.
For But they didn't want to go up against Saturday Night's they didn't want to counter program themselves as Saturday Night's main event. They've done NXT,
what I'm saying
has a PLE
what I'm saying
every
is
6 to 8
NXT
weeks.
didn't have to be scheduled that afternoon. That's
it didn't have to be, but they wanted to have an NXT PLE.
They wanted to make a point.
Well, you poke the bear. You poke the bear with the stick long enough, and eventually.
Yes,
here's the thing. No, but
that's what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but NXT was gonna have a PLE in July, no matter what, right? They already had the arena. They're gonna do it. It's easy for them to have that. They're already gonna be in Atlanta for Saturday Night's main event. You got the crowd there. I get what you're saying, George. And if they were going out of their way to do it, I would agree with you 100%. I don't think they're going out of their way to do it. I think it just happens to present itself, and they're like, pick this day or that day. If you have a choice between 2 days and one of them is a nice fuck you to Tony, why wouldn't you take it? It's not hurting them to do it.
It's checkers and shit, whatever.
I just don't think they care that much in the sense of I think if they give them the opportunity, go for it. But I don't think they're
Who said poke the bear? Who said just poke the bear? You poke the bear long enough, you're going to get.
I just don't. I'm just saying. I don't think WWE is looking at a schedule and going, "We're going to do this purposely because." I think it comes down to we're going to have a show being booked anyway. We can do this day or that day.
I'll end my point with this. How many times has Cornette said that the WWE just offers guys money just to see Tony overbid on them?
Oh God, they do that. I think it's fun.
Exactly. So they do the same thing. They just fuck with AEW. They just
Nick Khan is one of the.
They get a laugh out of it.
Nick Khan is one of the lizard
but it's
people.
not hurting them. Okay, I see what you're saying, but why would they stop? Like it's not. They're not doing anything out of their own realm of stuff they wouldn't be doing anyway. They would be negotiating with talent anyway. If you can push it a little bit further, and Daniel Garcia gets way overpaid to wiggle his little dick. Great. Who cares? If it hurts them at all, or if they go out of their way to do it, I would fully be like, that's ridiculous.
I'm not saying they're going out of their way. I'm just saying they're making a point.
It gives WWE
the point was made long ago, I feel like. The point was made well long ago. And even worse so now with being able to, as good as it was for AEW to be with CMLL on last Wednesday, WWE showed how to actually do that with the company, with Worlds Collide.
So AEW can't stop talking about the WWE. Every second of the day, you hear the talent talking about the WWE.
The problem is that they're allowed to do all those extra interviews. WWE is very smart with holding who they allow to interview or to do interviews and with whom. Like when you see clips of WWE talent in interviews, they're interviewed by the same 5 people because they know they're not going to. You don't want to do anything stupid. You don't want to. They don't want to poke the bear, or I guess poke the. Maybe possum? Is that what you want to call them? I don't think I can call AEW a bear. The possums are little and mean, right? They're kind of like chihuahuas. But yeah, no,
exactly. WWE talent don't go out their way to talk about the AEW talent. But the AEW talent just go out their way to talk about them.
Yeah, CM Punk has, but I feel like he's done that because he's seen the million things that have been said about them. So it's a small report.
Yeah.
No, that's been AEW's problem literally from the beginning, from their first press conference. They wanted to fight and again be better and be bigger than WWE, but if they just focused on their own house, if it was just Tony's little vanity project and just putting on the best shows possible, worrying about that, maybe they actually might be they might actually be decent enough now, but the problem is they just want to be WWE so bad and they want to overtake them. That's why you see it when they do their the camera angles and stuff. WWE will start doing a new camera angle. You see it 2 or 3 weeks later on AEW. Like that, the same kind of stuff. It's obvious that he's copying with them for it. So that's, I think, the other reason why WWE is like, well, screw this little kid. It's like your little cousin who comes around every like Thanksgiving and Christmas and just follows you around, copies everything you do and repeats everything you say. Eventually you just go smack the little bastard.
It's the redheaded stepchild effect. Yeah. Well, also, I like that you referred to certain AEW talents as ankle biters because, my God, Ricochet, that's all I'm going to say.
Man.
Yes, Ricochet, something else.
And the thing is, if his gimmick was just the stuff he's doing on TV, and if the internet stuff was just a little bit here and there and just doing enough to show it as a gimmick, but that man spends all of his time on his phone. he's responding to accounts with like no followers. He's responding to every single the random tweets about that other things that don't involve him at all to interject himself. Like that guy's off of his rocker, man.
Yeah. And then Mercedes winning a new title, like what?
I
What?
mean,
There are so
she's
many
a lost
women.
cause.
There's so many women that were not on that show that could have been. Oh my goodness! You just feel terrible.
I gotta shout George out. He pointed out to me
Yeah.
about how mad that the woman was that when Mercedes took her title on Wednesday. She did not look like she was happy about that.
Oh, she's like best friends with Stephanie McCura too.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see. You could see it on her face. She was
you could see it. I just didn't notice it but yeah, no, it's, I noticed it, but didn't pay that close attention. I went back and rewatched some clips of it after George pointed to me like, oh, she is mad. She is mad.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, just how many belts does she need? And then she keeps talking about how she's growing women's wrestling and doing so much for women's. You're just doing stuff for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's all she's doing. I'm like, when there's so many other talent that could be put over.
What was that, George?
I don't think I have a problem with her winning.
Yeah.
The problem becomes, how do you get out of it?
Yeah, no, that's
what happens. You gotta lose them.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
There's no way she's gonna lose all of it. No, she's gonna do like a one-off match with somebody for a winner takes all or something. I don't know.
But then the problem goes to somebody else. Which is fine for her, but
yeah. So somebody else was willing to. Well, somebody else might be willing to actually go and work and do other matches with people and put somebody else over and actually be a worker as opposed to no. I don't.
She's not done yet. She's winning one more.
At least one more. She's already finding random ones out of anywhere. She found. I mean,
just curious what
one.
Yeah. Just curious what happens if it's like if she beats Tony. And there's nobody else for her to beat in like in a year and a half. She's like, I'm going back to WWE now.
Well, she's beating Tony. Let's get that out of the way right now.
She's definitely beating Tony, which is so sad. Like, yeah. Tony's worked so hard and put so much into it to just be another.
I mean, he did that with Jade Cargill, right? He gave her everything. And she's like, yeah, I'm just like over here now. Thanks.
Yeah, he gave her everything. But again, there was nothing that. I mean, she was like basically every week going out and squashing somebody and saying, cut the shit, Tony. And that was it. Like there was no.
When did she leave AEW, Jake? When did she
October 2023. As a month before Punk.
Okay. 23?
23.
Yeah.
23, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's taken WWE 2 years to reform her and she's still not good in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean.
But what kind of damage, these people are taking damage. Not physical, but they're taking developmental damage.
That's my worry about Kyle Fletcher. That's my worry. The longer he spends doing this goofy shit with them.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, George. Because you got to unlearn. Like, you got to unlearn the bad habits. It's so much harder to teach somebody to unlearn a bad habit than just teach somebody good habits.
Yeah, because think about what they did with Cargill. They brought her out to one show and just showed her getting out of a car.
Mm-hmm.
And she's okay in the ring now, but she's still not WWE ready.
She doesn't look. And the only time she doesn't look confident is in the ring because she just doesn't have as much skills in there. Yeah. Because I mean, she's got it on the mic, she's got it backstage, but when she gets in there,
and to be fair, that took a year off Bianca's career too, right?
Yes. Yeah, she had a babysitter for a year. Exactly right.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
No, that's true. You're not wrong. It's not being funny. It's totally true.
No, you're right. Yeah. You're absolutely. It's funny because it's true. That's why I laughed.
Oh, I know.
So riddle me this: everybody's saying Mariah May is copying Tony Storm, right?
No. Debunked this, Jake. Jake debunked it.
Everybody in the sense, all the sickos are saying it. I wouldn't say the word everybody. I'd say all the sickos are saying that.
Wasn't her whole gimmick in AEW copying Tony Storm?
Yes, that was
Jake, tell him.
Well,
Jake,
please tell him. The pictures. She's doing a Sabrina Carpenter gimmick, what she's doing. But there's mixes of it in with like the cartoon stuff, but that's more of like 60s, 70s cartoon, like I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah,
Bewitched.
It was Bewitched with Elizabeth Montgomery. That's what gave me vibes of.
Yeah, exactly. And then like the stuff with like her in the bath and the newspaper and the opening the towel, that was straight from the Sabrina Carpenter video.
Here's the other thing that throws me off about Toni Storm. You remember when she dropped the cinematic line, like, if you want cinema, go to the movies? Isn't her whole gimmick based off Tinseltown?
Yeah. Based off 1940s movies, yeah.
Yeah, it's based off like Betty Boop and stuff, right?
That's why I mean, she's really based off of I forget the exact movie that they based a lot of the stuff
Eve.
with
Eve.
Mariah May.
Something with Eve.
All about Eve. All about Eve. That's it.
Yeah, All About Eve. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're her gimmick. I mean, she even had the guy from Turner Classic Movies on her side.
Yeah, but wasn't her whole gimmick like go to see a movie? And I'm like, isn't your gimmick based off the movies?
Yeah, but I mean again, that's why nothing matters in that company. They don't keep any stories. They don't have any production meetings to like tie things together. It's just week to week and throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And less stuff is stuck every week.
Can I tell you my comparison that I made to AltJake? Does anybody watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Do you remember the one where the gang were making a movie and they hired an actor and they figured out they didn't know how to make a movie, so they just gave the actor and said, "Here, you direct the movie, you produce it."
Yes.
That's what AEW feels like to me. They bring in a person and they're like, "Yeah, you can produce. You just go out and just make up your own lines."
Yeah, and they've got Uncle Jack as their lawyer because they're a legal team. It's just
So quick,
what's up, George?
Quick timeout before we continue. Jake, would you like to tell these people where they can find us?
Yes,
to do,
absolutely. Yeah, we are at youtube.com/@AltJakeTakesOn. You can go to my profile here, and we've got links to our page from there. We've put out a new recorded episode every week. I put these spaces out on our page every week. We're doing our classic match reviews. So we've got content coming out every single week. I was recently on the Last Call podcast with Chris Connor and the SC Maniacs show last Thursday, or that's past Thursday, the Thursday before. So you want to go back and hear those. We'll be doing a show. We'll be recording a podcast this week with Phil Marks of Pro Wrestle Times. We'll do the Night of Champions preview. Hopefully that pay-per-view is still going on. We'll cross those bridges as we get there, but please go ahead and if you can go to subscribe to our page. We're up to almost, I think, 230 subscribers now. We're at 229 last I saw, which if you guys remember last week, I think we were under 200 or right around. So we are slowly growing, but it's growing every day and it's awesome to see. So
what you get here is pretty much the same thing as what you get there. It's just two guys talking.
Yeah. I feel like we're pro wrestling conversationalists. That's really what we are.
Two older guys talking.
Yeah. We're not going to get as hot and crazy. I feel like we're like the anti-JD from NY. You know, we're not going to get crazy and scream. We might get mad about some things. What was it when Claudio almost killed Hook? We were both pretty pissed about that. We got pretty hot, but we were even keeled. We try to be fun. We try to at least be more insightful and kind of give different ideas, takes and sides from it with it. You know, we're, if you give us a comment on any of our videos, I will go back and respond. If you give us, we're happy to take constructive criticism. You know, by all means, what you like, dislike, please interact with us. We're trying to bring on as many folks as possible.
Thank you for not.
Back to the show.
Yeah, it's already, was it 9:25 Eastern, so we can.
Yeah, we'll go 15. We'll go 15 minutes more.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I'm good. But, it looks like we got somebody else coming request. Oh shoot, LC Killer. What's up, buddy? See, requested to speak as well, but.
Yeah. Hey, LC.
He might have requested before. I was watching the game until halftime. I turned my mic and turned my TV, but. What else do we want to cover? What else do we got to talk? Oh, what's up? What's up, Rabbit? How you doing, buddy?
Oh, what's up? Oh, yeah, watching the game too, and then I was glued on the game, and I forgot about it. I listened to you and I'm watching the game.
I know it's very rare that you get a game 7, and it's been good and close. I feel like a lot of game 7s, it's one of those things where there's a lot of build up, but then it'll be a blowout by like, end of the first or second quarter, or like in baseball. By the third or fourth inning, it's a complete blowout. But
yeah. Actually, I have recently I compared the Sports Collide and the Grand Slam Mexico. To me personally, WWE put over AAA more.
Oh yeah, not only did they put them over more, but they presented it better too. It was really more presented in a way where they were given the best chance to succeed. And yes, they had multi-man tag matches, but a 6-man tag is a lot different than a 14-man tag match.
Oh yeah, that was
that was
that's crazy.
the other one was a 10-man tag. Like, you can't, like, nobody gets over when you have that much going on, especially with all the run-ins and stuff they're gonna have too. There's just no cohesion.
Oh yes. And for the Grand Slam Mexico, I feel like there's only two CML wrestlers. It's Mystical and the girl, I cannot remember the name, who lost her title against me.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just talking about her and how unhappy she looked about that whole situation. That she did not look. And then WWE's already promoting. I don't know if they're gonna have any WWE involvement on it, but there's a super show in July. With AAA.
Mexico.
I thought the NXT logo on it. Yeah.
Yeah, on the Mexico.
I think it's in Monterrey.
Mexico. It's in Mexico.
Yeah, I think it's in Monterrey, Mexico, but I've seen them promoting it. And like, there's another thing too, is like WWE will promote, they're promoting the other shows. That's how they do a real partnership. I mean,
how the hell did they get Alberto to be a babyface? That's so funny to me.
I mean, of anything, I would have not expected to be on anybody's bingo card in 2025. It would be Alberto Del Rio being a babyface. But I mean, for the people that were really into AAA and really into,
go ahead, Rabbit. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, what's up?
For like Alberto becoming like a babyface out of nowhere.
Yeah.
My theory is, what the Mexican fans noticed, WWE wants Vankingo as like their face of Mexico, and I think they just pick it up like, hey, we don't want him. We actually do a boomerang effect. No, we're not cheering for your guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna cheer for the guy who's being a heel for, I don't know how long he was champion. I don't remember how long he was champion.
And he's been a part of AAA for quite a while too, and
he's been a heel champion for quite some time.
Yeah, and he's been down there and part of it. I mean, pretty much since he left. What was it, TNA? But I know that like for the people that are really into AAA and into the storylines, they don't care about WWE. They don't really care about the partnership. They don't care about the company growing within there. So all of those folks, they saw what happened and they clung to Del Rio.
That's a good call by Rabbit. I wouldn't have thought about that. I would have thought about it eventually, but I like the way you explained it very well. I appreciate that. That was cool.
I love it.
Actually I noticed it when watching the match against Kingo and Alberto in this cage match. Like, I noticed like the Vankingo had more booze than Del Rio.
Yeah.
When he won, he got more booze. In my head, thinking, that the fans rejected Vankingo because of WWE.
Good noted. Good pickup, dude. Really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you say it, it's like, that makes perfect sense. I mean, we've seen it with wrestling fans. It's been the history of wrestling in the last 25 years. I mean, it would happen back to Cornette or anybody would talk about with Ring of Honor, how there was a section of the Ring of Honor fans that didn't want them to bring in other people and to have the show grow. They wanted to do their stuff in front of 500 people, which for those fans, it's great. But, if they want to grow, you've got to evolve and change. But I can totally understand, especially like the hardcore AAA fans that, they've been watching it their whole lives and with their families and generational. They don't want WWE coming in and messing things up. And you can't blame them for thinking WWE might mess our whole program up. I mean, unfortunately, the history in wrestling is when there's a buyout or a merger, one of the companies gets shat on. It's just part of what happens. So I can't blame them. Hopefully WWE does it right and continues to promote the partnership the positive way, but we'll see.
Yeah. They had the Super Show before in Mexico where they debuted Stephanie, where they rolled out the red carpet for her when they did that.
Oh yeah, that was after she'd signed. That was actually like a year ago. That was last July.
Yeah.
Rabbit, do you know how many times AAA runs? Like, do they run weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Do you know offhand or no?
When I was more younger, like, he always show like AAA shows on like a Mexican channel in the area I live in.
Okay.
Because the area I live in is like close to Mexico. Usually sometimes we get the same program when the other in Mexico.
Okay.
Do they have an app or anything, LC? Do they have an app for the AAA?
I think no, but
Okay.
I didn't check. I don't know. They have it, but every time I watch like AAA, I just watch it on YouTube because YouTube you make everything easy.
I'm looking at I'm looking up a Google now. Yeah, they do have a weekly show that they put it, they primarily put it up on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
What's the name of the YouTube, Jake? Do you know? Did they say the name of the YouTube channel?
I'm not familiar. It's just off of. Let me see here. I'm just off of their regular. I literally just Googled, does AAA have weekly TV?
AAA YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. I was just going to say, I'm like, sure, if you just
I would just
AAA wrestling.
Oh, and also, when I watched the Mexico show when Mercedes won the title,
yeah,
I said it to myself, like, how would this benefit the women's wrestling on
not in the least bit.
or in the weekly television?
Exactly.
And
it's Lucha Libre AAA is their Lucha Libre AAA TV is their they got 1.77 million YouTube subscribers on AAA. That's awesome. Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, I mean,
so
I just subscribed. I'm like, shoot, I'll put that on, especially with the tie-in and stuff. I want to see what goes through. And now with somebody pointed out earlier that the Garzas have the AAA tag titles. So yeah, there's definitely going to be stuff on there that should be worth watching and entertaining.
Well, it's cool what he just said, because he just said that as a fan watching the champion Zooksies lose to Mercedes, what happens to AAA women's division now?
Well, that's CMLL.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got confused.
Yeah.
My point was there, but my organizations were wrong.
Good. Well, that's the other, I mean, that goes back to, that was that whole show was that was a complete one-off, and they've yet to really integrate the CMLL talent into AAA. They'll bring them up, or into AEW. They'll bring them up for a random Dynamite or Collision taping, or have a one-off match at a pay-per-view, but then it goes away. So
yeah,
I feel really bad for that girl for losing.
Yeah, for LC's point, it makes sense, because now you're like, well, what's our women's division champion? Yeah. She's on AEW, and you're like sitting there going, watching your weekly television, going, we have no women's champion.
And it's just one of her many belts. It's not like she's got that belt. She's like, I'm excited to have this.
Most of the belts are fucking. But the ones that have actual TV deals, like you don't count the one from the tent out back, but
that's fair.
I think Little John Cena wants to speak again.
You still on speaker? Yeah, unmute yourself. What's up, buddy?
I just wanted to speak on the Mexico AEW show and also the AAA show that WB had.
Sure.
So I also have a question about it as well. So in my opinion, I think AEW showed off more of the Mexican talent a little bit. I'm not saying a lot better, a little bit better than WWE did when they did the AAA show. And I feel like WWE did a pretty decent job, but didn't do the greatest of all jobs that they could have done, but still a pretty decent job as it is. And I'd like to ask, what show did you guys enjoy more, the AEW Mexico show in Mexico or the WWE show with the AAA?
Interesting. I like what you said. The only thing AEW showed off more Mexican talent. They didn't put over more Mexican talent. They had more people on the show, I think, than WWE did. I enjoyed the Worlds Collide episode more because I didn't know anybody in there, and I was given packages and shown people, and I got to know people before the match started. So I kind of knew who these people were that I didn't know prior. The AEW match, I didn't get anything up front, so I didn't know who anybody was besides Mystico. I didn't know anybody, but I enjoyed the Worlds Collide, to answer your question.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like it was one of those things where, I think that was the issue with the Grand Slam show, is that they tried to put too many people on the show. I mean, that's one of the problems that they have with their pay-per-views, where they got to have 12, 14, 15 matches. It's like, if you would do 7 or 8 really good matches that matter, that have good stories behind them, not everybody gets on the card, but the people who are on the card get over. And I think that's where Worlds Collide succeeded, was that, they had 6-man tags where you can really get in, you can see each individual having their moments to time to shine, as opposed to with a 14-man tag, there's just too much going on. And then they were going to have run-ins anyway. And so I like the idea behind both shows, and I think it's great to have the crossover and more companies working together, the better. But I think WWE was more successful with the way they did it with Worlds Collide. And I think we'll see how AEW does their follow-up, but WWE has done a lot of good follow-up with video packages. They're doing I've seen a lot more highlights and stuff on Twitter and on other social medias. And I think like I was saying with that show they're promoting, it's in Monterrey, Mexico. It's the last weekend in July, it looks like, is that show, the AAA Super Mega Show. So, but we'll see how it comes out. If I would love to see AEW really come out on this week's show, really follow up on some of their storylines, maybe have that Xerxes woman show back up and like start to build a feud with Monet. Like that'd be great.
Where's Dynamite this week coming from?
No idea.
Can you take a look real quick
question.
before we wrap things up, because this is going to wrap it up for tonight. So I appreciate everyone coming. I appreciate everyone coming, knowing we didn't really have a guest tonight, and you guys did a real good job filling in.
Yeah, it's just fun. We didn't have any points of us just going like, what's everybody doing?
What do you guys think about Athena? At first, she's not going to be on the show on Texas.
They blew it. They brought her in. They brought her into TV, and you seemed like they were going to lead into it, and they just dropped it. So
yeah. I think the problem for her is it's just they haven't. I mean, why have her buried on an ROH TV? Like
it's too late. Too late.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't. All right, let's see what WrestleTake says here for Dynamite.
All I got
is fine. No.
All right.
Go ahead. Finish up because we're going to wrap up.
Is Mr. Iguana has a new fan after Worlds Collide.
He's got many.
Yeah, Iguana. Yeah.
What I think's been funny. What I think's been great to see about him is you've seen how there's been a lot of other talent that have worked with him, and they've all like re-uploaded their pictures with him. Like I've seen like shots of like Danhausen uploaded his old pictures with him and a few other people. Like,
that was cool. That was cool to see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Danhausen contract is up too. Danhausen? His contract is up too.
There's no way.
Yeah, I think he's better off. I think he's just better off being,
put up a YouTube show and be spooky. like what's that show that Cornette watches? That's
Svengoolie?
Yeah, like do a Svengoolie thing on YouTube with Danhausen hosting it. It's perfect.
Shit, he could probably, the way Svengoolie works out, he could probably get stuff with Svengoolie.
That's what I'm saying.
All right,
it's his game.
This one? July.
So again, it's AltJakeTakesOn on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe, tell a friend, recommend us, please. It helps. It helps so much.
Also make sure leave
comments.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake.
They all help the algorithm.
I have one more question.
I gotta hear the answer to my question first.
What's up?
Jake, how was your birthday?
That's good. It was good. We didn't. I mean, it was my 43rd birthday on a Thursday, so I mean, we might have to have a really, really nice dinner. That was
good. Happy related birthday to you, buddy.
Thank you. No, it was fun. It was good. Oh, I'm in the wrong section.
I'd love to be 43 again, by the way.
Looks like Dynamite is in Kent, Washington.
Duh. They went from Mexico to Washington?
I think so.
That doesn't sound like a good move.
June 25th, 2025, 4:30. Yeah. Kent, Washington at the.
Well, there's going to be no follow up at all then, because who the fuck's going to come there?
Yeah, at the Showware Center.
Okay, well that's gone.
The most recent updates, from 4 weeks ago, it says they distributed a little over 1,000 tickets, but this is like a month old. So
yeah, well,
but yeah, Kent, Washington.
That makes no sense at all, scheduling wise.
No, but we've seen how they schedule their shows.
All right. Pack it in. Next week's Marie Shadows.
Yeah, we got Marie Shadows next week, so we'll talk some New Japan and we'll talk some other good stuff. I'm excited. And she's big on Evolve too. I got to try to catch up on more of that. So.
MLW.
That's my girl right there. I love you. I love it.
Yes, that's enough. Yeah. And we had Dose on last week, and I think they're going to a show they went to a show this weekend. So we'll talk to her about that. So yeah, everybody make sure you subscribe, go to the YouTube page, watch the videos, tell us what you like, what you don't like. We're here to interact with everybody. Have a good one, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Take care,
Bye bye.